I'm Dr. Bojack from Atlantic Chiropractic in Stoneham, Mass, your posture doctor. And our phone number is 781-GET-WELL. Listen, I really love doing these clips, and I'd really appreciate you giving me a little love back by pressing the subscribe number or button for our YouTube channel. I'd really appreciate that. Thank you. So, today we're going to talk about the neck and the thoracic cage, which are one of the most compromised positions right now because of this virus, and everybody being home and everybody being subject to working pretty much on their dining room tables. So they're not used to that positioning, and they're making a lot of adaptations, and they're compromising their posture a lot because of that. Okay? So first, let's take a look at this actual neck. So what we want to do is maintain the curve in our neck, right? Because the strength of a straight line is derived by number of curves squared plus 1, 60 to 70% more tensile strength with the curve versus without the curve. So we want that curve in place, okay? And as we reduce that curve, or the curve decreases, okay, or lose it, and it starts to go forward, then your components of that neck are going to get compromised or changed, okay? Meaning, right, this disc space or these vertebral bodies, and as that head, which is the weight, right, weight of a bowling ball, as it goes forward, right, it aggravates the front of these vertebral bodies and these disc spaces. So the disc spaces start to compromise, and then you start getting arthritic icicles or build up on the front of these vertebral bodies. And then from there, it goes to fusion. Okay? And that's what we don't want, is fusion, because once these joints get fused, your options are limited. Right? And the options go to surgical intervention, and only 8 to 12% of those surgical interventions are successful. So we don't want to go there, right? We want to keep it non-surgical. Okay? We want to make sure this structure stays healthy. Okay? So the second part of that is our thoracic cage, right? So our cervical thoracic area. This thoracic cage is the biggest mass in our body, right? And where the thoracic cage goes, the head goes. And where the head goes, the thoracic cage goes. So these two guys work together almost as brothers or sisters. Okay, so wherever one goes, the other one's following. So you start getting this anterior translation, or that buffalo hump, your head's going to start following. Now all of a sudden you're looking like your grandparents, right? Your head's starting to go forward, your shoulders are starting to go forward, and this whole mass is out in front of you. Okay? Now because of that postural distortion, you're going to get weakening of the nerves and inflammation of the nerves, which is going to result in what? An irritated message, instruction, or direction, which is going to irritate the functional integrity wherever those nerves go. So especially the top of the cervical is going to sinuses, allergies, right? Hay fever, blocked ears, runny nose, sight irritation, ophthalmic nerve, anything with your sight. Okay, so any of those areas are going to be compensated because those nerves go to those organs, tissues, and glands as a consequence to that. Okay, so we'll be right back with exercises to support those areas. So now we're going to talk about the exercise, the neck and the thoracic cage. Okay, and in back of me, you can see the area that we're talking about. Okay, so we're talking about the actual teres major, teres minor, spina scapula, the rhomboid muscles, the upper traps, the actual rotator cuff, and the actual scalenus muscles, and levator scapular muscles, all in this general area. Okay, So that's what we gotta address. And then, like you say, that's your biggest mass in this whole machine, is this upper thoracic area. Okay, so we changed that upper thoracic area. We changed how it's loading that spine. Okay. So the first one we want to do is extension of the neck. Okay. On our earlier clips, you're going to see that we do this on a fulcrum, and I highly recommend you do it on a fulcrum, but we're going to do this without any kind of support. Okay. So you're literally just going to push your head back and relax. Okay. Push your head back and relax. Push your head back and relax. Okay, and you can even breathe with that. So again, remember, right, when we're pushing our head back, we're putting that curve in there. When we're putting the curve in there, what's got to happen to these muscles that are attached here and here? They got to what? Stretch, because they're going over a greater distance. Okay? So think of the same thing like your hamstring. If your hamstring is all wound up in spasm and it wants to contract on you, what do? You go forward, keep your knees locked to keep the tension on that hamstring so it doesn't contract on you. Okay? So this is the same distinction here in your neck. So if it wants a spasm on you, if you put your chin down, that's going to give slack to this musculature and it's going to spasm on you. We don't want that to happen. We want to keep what? Tone and tension on the muscle. And in order to do that, you keep your head back. Okay? So the first one is extension, pushing your head back, right? The second one is push your head back, ear to shoulder, ear to shoulder. Ear to shoulder, ear to shoulder. Okay? So remember, the primary here is always to bring your head back, because that puts that neck into tension, and then the exercise that you're doing is moving those joints under tension to stretch the tissue that is attached to the actual frame. Again, it always goes back to what? Mechanics, right? If you only have this much mechanics, you're not going to take your head through a full range of motion, because you're limited to those mechanics. So out of 100%, you only have 80% of the mechanics going on. That's the only range of motion you got, is 80% versus 100% range of motion. Okay? So first one is extension. Second one is lateral flexion, ear to shoulder, ear to shoulder. And then the third one is rotation, right? Push your head back, turn your head from one side, and turn your head to the other side. Turn your head to one side, turn your head to the other side. Okay? Now you can even accentuate that, is when you're at the end of the movement, you squeeze it, right? Don't push it, don't jerk it, squeeze it. So you push your head back, at the end of that motion you're squeezing it. And just that extra squeeze create more tension. Same thing, push your head back, ear to shoulder, squeeze. Ear to shoulder, squeeze. And last, rotation. Push your head back, turn your head from one side, squeeze, turn your head to the other side, squeeze. Okay? Shoulder or thoracics, right? We're this way, we want to go this way. So we're pushing our shoulders back and relax. Push your shoulders back and relax. Okay? And even a better motion is to couple your neck with your shoulders. So you're pushing your head and your shoulders back and squeeze. Right? Push your head and shoulders back and squeeze. Push your head back and your shoulders back and squeeze. Okay? Now, I highly recommend you doing this against the wall. Okay? So you got your shoulders up against the wall. Because now when your shoulders are touching, when you feel both points of your shoulders touching the wall, now that's where your shoulders should be, right? Because those are your shoulders flat back. And just touching your shoulders, just walking up against that wall and touching your shoulders against it is going to feel awkward to you, especially if you have that rounded shoulders and your actual capsules in your shoulders are already starting to kind of get limited in motion. Okay, so that'll actually agitate you, right? When you push your head back against the wall, push your shoulders against it. Even just pushing your shoulders up against the wall will cause irritation to this pec muscle and even to that shoulder capsule. Never alone literally pushing your shoulders back and pushing your head back and going into an active movement, right? Head back, shoulders back. Head back, shoulders back, and push. Okay? You can even further accentuate it by bringing your arms up, pushing, and not only pushing your shoulders back, but pushing your arms back. Okay? So now we got your head going back, your shoulders going back, and your arms rotating and going back. Okay? So that's going to work your pec. It's going to work your rhomboids. It's even going to work your rotator cuffs. Okay? And if you have impingement in these shoulders, you're going to feel the impingement in your shoulders also. Okay? So on our past video, we showed you a spinal twist. So I highly suggest you do the spinal twist, right? You take breaks during the course of your day sitting doing your spinal twist. The second thing I recommend is you find yourself a flat wall, push your head back, push your shoulders back up against that wall just for you to feel anchored in a normal posture, right? This is where your posture should be. Head back so that you're feeling the base of your skull pushing on pressure against the wall and both of your shoulders pegged up against that wall. And like I said, if you've been sitting for a long period of time and you're not very active, that is even going to feel awkward and resistant to you. Okay? And again, if this persists and you're feeling irritation and the irritation's getting worse and it's getting more aggravating and you're starting to feel your shoulders are starting to catch, believe me, you should check us out. Check your chiropractor out. Okay? You can mention this video and like I say, we'll give you a 10% discount off your initial workup. But you need to get it addressed because all we are is habits, and the more habitual these habits become, the more you're going to see these head goes forward and the shoulders start going forward. And I'm starting to see this more and more in my office, right? It was the elderly people that were having these postural distortions. Now I'm starting to see it in mid-50s, even 40s, right? Because everybody's starting on these computers so early. I mean, you have babies in the cribs with iPads, right? So, again, it's an inside-out job. We run by a spark. We want to make sure that spark is expressing at 100% for our hardware, our organs, muscles, and tissues and glands to function at 100%. Okay? Please remember, I love doing these videos. Give me a little loving back. Hit the subscribe button. I'd really appreciate that. So again, we'd love to see you. We'd love to check you out. Love to assist you in getting on track with your health from a natural, internatural dimension, and to get you feeling well and feeling healthy. Okay, because we all should experience that. We were meant to be healthy. We were meant to be balanced, not out of balance, not out of sync, in sync. Have a great day. Have a super Saturday. Look forward to seeing you.